Good morning, everybody. Happy June 19th. I think we call this Juneteenth. I don't know if it's always the 19th every year or if it's just like the like the first convenient Friday that's a teen number in June. Not sure exactly how that works, but it's a good thing. Anything in my in my mind, if you had me at the day off, if you can get the day off, if you don't get the day off, I'm sorry. But anything where you can get the day off is usually a win for me. So this is definitely no different. So as I've coded over the years, I've picked up certain, just habits and ways of doing things and modifications. I will say that like one of my foundational beliefs is that you have like if you took 10 people and you random people off the street, you made them into gave them a coding role, a software developer. We're trying to build some software. You 10, get in this room. Let's do it. One of those 10 is probably going to really be able to do it. And I don't care what background you bring these people in. So that's just what I believe. I don't think that there's any background that you could have, whether it's computer science, engineering, soccer mom, musician, athlete, that doesn't matter. Like that percentage stays the same. Now, I will say that some computer science, um, like engineers, librarians, even musicians, like they tend to produce more developers, and I think that's because the more developers are like they're more likely to be physically what you would need to be as a developer. Because if you want to be a developer, you really do need to be able to sit for 8 hours. You need to be able to focus for 3, 4 hours at a time. There's like specific things. And so like the, if you're a professional athlete, you probably don't really like sitting and doing nothing for 8 hours. So like it's the overlap is not really the ability to do it coding wise, but more like physically. So that's why I think some people think that better developers come out of music and science and engineering and things like that. But I don't think it's a mental thing. I think it's more of a physical thing in that specific scenario. So, um, but and then I am a strong believer that like that 1 in 10, if you take those 10 and you were to put them in a room, and then like what happens is every few years, like coding, just all of the mindsets change in coding. Like a really easy to explain example would be like there was a time where like in every single like it was considered a bad idea to not give every single element an ID. And then we went the other direction. And it was just like, no, you should never ever have an ID on any element. And that's bounced back and forth. And it just depends on when you started coding, right? Like if you started coding during one of the times that people are like everything should have an ID, then that's what you think. And so I would say out of them, only 1 in 10 of them would ever be able to like once they've ingrained an idea like a rule and a way things are supposed to be done, and then when things aren't supposed to be done that way anymore in a year or 2 years or 5 years, like they can't adapt. Um, those are people I call it like one-hit wonders, right? They get really good at one style of coding, at one time frame of coding and the way things were done during that time frame, but they can never adapt. And so it is unusual that somebody can, one, come up to speed and figure out how to code and learn how to code and whatever. And I just don't even have a clue on how that works. And then two, then out of those 10, be able to undo what they learned and relearn it in a different fashion. And so I've been trying and I've gone through that. So I've been coding since like professionally since 1996. So it's exactly 30 years now. I've been through that process, that retrain like 10 times now, right? So and I'm trying to figure out like, okay, how do I do it? And I remember the hardest one was jQuery. Like when jQuery first came out, it was very, very difficult for me to pick it up, and it was just growing. And I believe it's still the number one library. But with jQuery, they had this concept that I had just never ever been um, around, and that was the idea of chaining. Like, so how we have this three publisher service dot. Like that was the first time I ever got, and then you call a function, and then you could say dot and call another function. That chaining process is just something that I had never ever been around, and it just would not click. And then when it clicked, it was the easiest thing in the world, and I could not understand. Like literally I saw some 13-year-old kid on YouTube doing some sort of speech in Atlanta somewhere at some sort of convention, and he was explaining how jQuery works, and he just said, yeah, so then you just chain it, and you hit the dot here, and then and it was just like, oh my God. And then it was so simple. It was just this one little tiny little gap, this little shim that I was missing in that little kid. I guess because of the way the kid learned it from nothing, all that exposed like this little piece of knowledge that I just couldn't get, and then it was off to the races. And jQuery was awesome at the time. It was absolutely amazing. It's still amazing today. I still actually have to code in jQuery every once in a while today. But and jQuery's peak was like, I want to say like 2002, like 24 years ago, and it's still like awesome. Um, but anyways, so I have come up with this whole, like, it just is so obvious to me now that like you have like a component that's like a whole page, like this update page, and that this is three things, and those three things need a way to communicate between them. Like I don't know why is just, I don't think a week ago that was very, the whole idea, that whole thing was very difficult. For some reason, my brain would just resist that sort of view of the world, view of the of coding. And now it's just the most obvious thing in the world. Like, of course, we have a layout. It has the layout component, and inside the layout component, we have an editor, a toolbar, and a viewer. Easy peasy. So obvious. Okay, well, these three need to know what some things about each other. Okay, so let's create a service. Alternatively, we could have used inputs and outputs, but I want to create a service because then it's just so much easier to then say, oh, editor is three parts, bloop, bloop, bloop. And then if all these things are connected via services, then via signals, then it's trivial to move them around. But if they're directly coupled to the TypeScript class, to the component class attributes, then it is not easy peasy to move them around. So, like, that's just a whole change of view. I don't know why it happened. I don't know what little sort of thing happened. And I'll tell you, it did happen. I remember when it happened, and it was when I was sick on Saturday. And I don't even think I made a video that day, but I couldn't actually, I can't post it for various reasons. The biggest reason, like most of them, it's just I was pretty incoherent. I couldn't really like think very clearly. I was like, I had been very, very sick, and not very, very sick, not like, I had been about as sick as I get, and for several days, and I was kind of coming out of it. And but my one of my son's dogs just decided that during that movie, decided it was going to dominate a pillow right there, right in that spot, right there. And it's just like one of those things, like I just can't, I can't upload that. But that was the video that I learned that this clicked for me. It all clicked for me in that video. Before that, it was like kind of been touching on it, but like from having been sick, and then when I was coming out, it's almost like I was in a position to be open-minded enough to absorb a new idea, and that new idea is to have a service sitting up top. Now, the thing is my service, and this is I'm struggling with. I don't really quite understand exactly what I want to do, but this service is a for root service, and I have mixed feelings about that. One, and the reason I have mixed feelings for it is because on my ThreeJS one, I'm actually getting ready to roll out another video, my simple ThreeJS, and I have two visualizations with two components, and they share this one for root service, and so they just interact with each other when a control should probably only affect the one that it's sitting on, but the controls are affecting both. So I could see the value. And actually, I had said that, like, I want to actually run into the problem that we're solving by not making something provided in root. And so now that I actually have, there's probably another provided in possible. So there's root, platform, and any. So I was kind of hoping there was like another thing. And I think but that used to be handled by modules now that I think about it, like where you would, depending on the module that you declare it provided something in, was the scope of that. And all that was sort of above my head. And now at least that piece I'm starting to kind of get some feelings for. But anyways, as I was going through, I just decided I'm going to start from the top to the bottom. And I define, and it's kind of funny because I could redo that and say, well, editor's top because it's the top here. But I decided to go with top to define top based on where it comes in the layout. And the very first thing in the layout is this ST renderer ID. So I have an ST renderer ID, and I think, let's see, I wonder if I can do this. Let's see, style, I'm going to give it an inline style, style equals, and then background color. Is that like that? Color. White smoke. Let's see what did I do here? So it says changes detected, rebuilding, rebuilding. Okay, so let's inspect this and see. Maybe it's background color with a capital C. I'm pretty sure it's with a lowercase c though. Okay, here it is right here. I don't know why it's back. So it is white. Oh, maybe it's the Z index. See, this is a perfect example of like one of the easiest. Okay, so it's saying that I can't use the index, and that's probably because it's a static. Okay, so let's try this. Is it displayed? It was static. No, block. There we go. All right, so that's what we need to do. So we can't see it at all. We need to update, probably just, well, we probably need to do the, say, display block, hit save. Now I can't remember if this is the renderer ID or if this is what kind of, I don't know what this ID is. It could be the, I guess it'd be easy. You know what? Let's just do it this way. And so this is something I built just for this kind of thing so that when I look, yeah, so that is the renderer ID up there because this is one. So if I go to this view and I go to update. Okay, so I actually want to know what the renderer ID is. So maybe this isn't even necessary because the renderer ID is coming from the route. So I don't need it that way. So let's see, how are we getting it now? Guys, so as you see, that, let's see, this is the little troublemaker right here. Her name's Roxy. And she decided that she was the boss of this pillow back there. And it's kind of thing that like probably in 5 years, if I'm looking at any of these old videos and I look at this one, that will be my favorite video of all time, right? Because it is funny, like you get kind of fixated and you just want to sort of fixate. Like I have this, my daughter used to play soccer and we have like these videos of her grainy videos from up in stadiums watching her play soccer, and they're great, and all that. And then there's this one video where both the boys, my two sons, they were both like under 5 years old, and they both look into the camera, like they're right next to me, and they both look, and their little heads are just right there. We got so mad at them at the time, and then years later, that's like the very best thing, just because it was just so unexpected and so goofy and all that, and so real. It was so real. Anyways, so I love holidays and Friday. Oh my gosh, Friday holidays are amazing. Although I do have to work tomorrow. Not really, really work, but work. I have to be available for work, which is, kind of the same thing. All right, so we have this activated route. This is probably where it lives. And over here somewhere we set the renderer ID number, and I don't know exactly. We have an effect. This render ID, get current renderer ID location href. What is get renderer ID? So, okay, so for me, it seems like ideally it would be nice if I think what we want to do is okay. So I think what we want to do is we want to move this functionality into a service and then announce it as a signal. So this basically takes the ref. I feel like there's a better way to get that from inside the template. Let me ask ChatGPT that. It seems like this should be an easier way. And it's like weird because I've never thought of that before. And it's just like it's almost like there was like an unlocked cheat code, like how the kids are like they're not kids anymore, but like, are you kidding me? Are you serious, Pebbles? Are you serious? Anyways, yeah, it's almost like the people like in their 30s. Like when I go to a restaurant and I'll talk to like some waiter that's like 32, 33 years old, they'll always talk about cheat codes and stuff like that. But let's just ask ChatGPT. Okay, so I have this URL, and I would like to get the number in the template directly. Um, this is an Angular 21 project. I desperately need to move up to Angular 22. Extract number. Okay, okay. So do we have activated route? I think we do. I think that's what that was, right? What that would. Yep, activated route. Okay, so I got that. Export class. Yeah, I would. So I would like to avoid any processing. Well, okay. I guess I could do that directly from a service processing. So maybe that's what I need to do is yeah, okay, so I think I would like to in okay, so now I'm just practicing words because I'm so close to putting together a really good coherent sentence here. So I would like to avoid any processing in the component class TypeScript. Um, so that moving child components, creating easier. So I couldn't put that in words a second ago. I had a general idea. The general idea is that I need to put these into a service or get them directly from an existing Angular service um, directly in the template so that when I move the whole child component over, I don't have to worry about trying to make changes in the component classes TypeScript. I think I need an apostrophe here. And the thing is this is the missing piece of the puzzle for most of my career is that I would kind of get an idea of what was wrong and what wasn't right, but never kind of convert that from like the raw idea in my brain into English words. And so then when I started doing it at work, because I've sort of I've figured it out on my own personal projects. Oh, okay, this is a really good technique for doing something. I wouldn't be able to put words to it. And then when I start getting interrogated, first of all, I have a very, very bad reaction to being interrogated. I don't know why. Um, Something I'm working on, definitely. But so when I'm getting interrogated, I get super defensive and then just start lashing out. Um, so this is the part where I'm like, okay, this is something I know I need to do. I don't have the words for it. I need to establish words for it so that I don't have a freak out session um, a month from now or 2 months from now when I do this in a PR. So I think that is the challenge in 2026. If you want us to, like in 2000, it was almost better to not be able to explain things. It just made you look like this mystical, magical person. In 2026, when you can't explain things, it looks like you're hiding something. So you need to learn how to explain things, and you can't really be. I don't think you can be a successful developer today if you can't explain what you're doing, and that is a whole skill set in of itself. Uh, in that case, you're thinking about the right lines. Keep the route data in the template boundary. Ooh, so that I noticed that this word has started to show up, and it was not. It didn't used to the into. I think this month was probably the first time I saw boundaries in templates, or people talk about boundaries in templates, boundaries and all that. That has become a big hot topic word. Um, I doubt this word will last long in our world, but I think the what you need to do with the lessons to be learned by seeing things in this concept is boundaries. There was like a video at Angular, what's new in Angular 22, and one of the guys, and then they broke it. I watched the whole video. Now they've broken down small pieces. I watched some of the small pieces, so rewatched. Um, and one of them talks about like, oh, what if your page is loading and then one of the components fails, and it's just like, that's why we created this new boundary concept. And I'm like, what in the world? Component fails? That's like saying, oh, so when you're driving to work and you suddenly decide to start flying around, but there's like something over, and I'm like, flying around? What are you talking about? I've never seen that. Whatever that man was talking about, I have no idea what he's talking about. But he was talking about boundaries and he was talking about components failing, which both of which like are new concepts to me. And whatever drove those concepts, I'm unaware of the driving force under those things. But and avoid making the parent component a pass through. I've never heard that either. Just to move data around. And it's not really I'm trying to move data around, I'm trying to move the component around. In Angular 21, you can use the router outlet context with activated route directly in the template. Unfortunately, Angular template still cannot directly call. Yeah. Oh, okay, so I can get that here. So supposedly, and I think it is easier. Okay, so this is kind of what I was hoping for. I was hoping to not have to do this thing. Um, so we're going to basically in our service want to do this, or actually for now, eventually we're going to want this in our service. So we're going to implement it. I'm going to implement it in the viewer first, just make sure I can get the ID, and then I'm going to move that code into the code that provides it into a signal in the service, and then, right? So, man, I wish I had like a visual. Okay, so basically, for to start, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it into the viewer. It will not survive that though. That is not going to be what it survives. But this, in the meantime, is a very good practice, right? So I'm copying this and I'm pasting that in here. Control V. Now, activated route is I believe, from Angular router. So let's look. Yep. And it is so healthy to be right, guys. Don't forget that. It's very healthy to be right. So anytime you can be right and not hurt anything or anything, be right. Try to be right. So right now, inject should come from core, I'm pretty sure. Angular core. So 2 times in a row. I was right 2 times in a row. Let's see. I want to move this in since I'm confident that there's going to be more things that come in here. I'm going to already just make that into a 3. And then I like having the small ones, the ones so the functions. I believe this is inject is a function, and then component I believe is a class. Let's see, so it says inject function. Let's try it. Mouse over component. Oh, component is an interface. I'm a bit confused about interfaces and all that because it really wasn't part of JavaScript, and that's how I came up. But if it's anything like C sharp, which I'm kind of a novice at, but the there is a in C sharp interface you can provide a class an interface for a class, but it says it's also a decorator. So I think it's a special kind of class. All right. So now we have our activated route, and then we want to do this. And I think it's probably called ID. I don't know. So ID, this is something you define in your router. So we're going to just try ID. And if I'm wrong, that'll be good because we'll get to go look at it and be like, oh, that's wrong. Wrong again, Aaron. And the nice thing about this one is it should be very obvious. And for some reason, it's not showing a change. I don't know why. That's weird. All right, we definitely changed something. Hmm, that's weird. He's weird. I guess maybe, yeah, we made massive changes to it. Let's just do something crazy. Go cry cry. Okay, now Control Z. It's kind of weird though. We lost our whole. Did I do the wrong app layout manager works? Oh, so first of all, that's the wrong one. Where are you? Where are you? So this, I don't want this to be the layout editor. I want this to be the layout viewer. App layout viewer. Let's just make sure that's what it's called. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Looks like I don't. My guess is now that I'm not importing it into here. App layout viewer component. App update layout viewer. That's also a good feeling, like when you like kind of came up with your own little scheme and okay, but that's weird that it's not. Okay, now we're gonna go over here, app layout viewer component. Oh, did I not save it? Oh, first of all, this. Okay, I'm so confused. Let's see, what did we do? It's probably a layout viewer. And I need a dash. But I don't think there's anything like more important than basically being very comfortable with change. Like you have got to convince yourself that you like change. If you don't like change, you're probably in for a really bad time. Okay, so inspect. Okay, so it has no width and height. So first thing we want to do is at least give it something, a little something. Okay. And we want to remember this. So this is our, what is it called? I don't know, ID. Um, okay, so we are not getting an ID at all. It's not doing anything. Are we getting anything in the console? F12. All we're getting is this in the console. Mm, okay, so the next thing is, and this is supposed to be what kind? It's supposed to be a, it's a renderer ID. Renderer ID. It's renderer ID. All right. So we probably don't call it ID in the router. That's my guess. Stab in the dark. What is my confidence level on that guess is probably around 25%. Update route. Oh no, it is ID. Okay, so this code is showing nothing. All right, I don't know. I don't do this very often, so it doesn't surprise me. I don't actually. I've never really done this, so it doesn't really surprise me. Okay, so okay, so okay, so this is not showing anything. Okay, so not not showing anything. Rendering anything. And then let's go over here to our routes. It's kind of weird, like to think about like if I didn't have ChatGPT, like what would happen? And it's like I think A, I would come up with a solution. B, that solution wouldn't be as good as the one I can come up with by working with ChatGPT. Um, so you have to acknowledge that. But C, if I came up with a solution, I would probably so if I came up with my own solution, I'd probably be more emotionally attached to that solution. So it's kind of nice, but I would also remember it really well. So it's kind of nice to not have that emotional attachment and just be sort of like, okay, code is code, it's just business. Um, but um, okay, I wonder if it's the dummy component problem. Okay, and that's because there was something I wanted to do. I can't remember what it was, but this might end up being okay. This is route looks like. soon. It's most likely that route is not actually defined so it can only access. You need the component to expose the route object. Interesting. Okay, so this is what I have. Okay, so maybe I can't. Okay. Can I access the route in a service? Okay, so uh, you the route you the route you get depends on where the service is provided and injected. Example for route, what people expect because provided in route service is created at the application level. It does not attach to the route tree, so its activated route is usually route no ID. I don't even know what that means. Is usually route and then parentheses no ID into the service. Ooh, the child component. I'm getting a phone call, but I can't even answer my phone anyway, so I can barely. The only thing, I'm just so lucky because it's got this big black circle in the middle, and I can have like it lets me accept in the lower left corner if that, and that's one of the only places that works on the whole phone. So, and for some reason I can put the password in, but it's not a numerical password. It's like a move, a gesture. All right, moving child has a nicer with component input bounding. What is this? Okay, I don't want to use the dummy component. I don't want to use the dummy component. Okay. All right. So my son needs me to do something. He just called my wife. I can hear the conversation. All right. So basically, this is the next step. And then I got to call it. But in here, we want to do this router. Okay. So I don't know. This is actually getting more. Okay, so this layout service, I don't think I'm injecting it. I want to create a constructor. I heard you, babe. I'll go check it out in a second. Console.log. I live. And then I think over here, what we can do is we can go into this component here. This component here at update, not layout viewer. Yeah, layout viewer. And then we want to inject our service, which is called. So this is the glue that kind of holds everything together. And then we want to come back over here. And we want to go. Equals inject. It's kind of funny as time goes by, the order that I do these things in kind of changes. And then I'm glad it has a blue one. That looks right. Now I do not know. Here's the question. I do not know if when I hit save, if that I live from the router will cancel. Save in the wrong window. And then the idea is that hit F12 and see. Okay, so it does get called. So that means that, and that's what I thought. I wasn't not terribly surprised, but in the service now we can pull in our router. And this time we're not using the activated router, we're using router. That would probably be a really, like if you just sat down and just worked through that stuff, probably be a really good idea. Problem is like routing and all that is just kind of like something that you kind of figure out once and then hope to God you never have to figure it out again. Router comes from, let's fix this. I feel like that's the kind of thing that like kind of gives your brain a little bit of a chance to recover. I believe this comes from, okay, this needs to come from inject here. Now router, I believe, comes from Angular / router. And I believe the Angular router is the reason that they had to skip Angular 3.3 because I think Angular went to 2, the router went to 3, which then when people were trying to install Angular 2 with the third router, with the router 3, it just confused everybody. So they were like, okay, we have to keep these major components in sync with each other because it's very, very confusing. All right, so now we have our router, and then over here it says that I should be able to call a get ID. How about if I just want to console log it? How about if I just want to console log the route from the service? Let's see, log route. So do like, I guess I just want to do like a set timeout or something like that. The problem is that like construction is going to be before, I think will be before, I guess I could just do this router. Let's try this. Actually, let's just do this. It's another chance to learn something. Oh my gosh. Pain in the butt. Control copy. Let's just do this. Control V. And let's just call log route. I don't think at the time of construction that the route is available. It might be though, but I don't think so. I just don't know. I don't think so. I just don't know though. Yeah, so the route is / at this point, even though it isn't. And then if we do like a set timeout, do 100 milliseconds today. I don't think you want this though. Yeah, it was weird. Probably I did that. This dot. Console log. So right now I'm just validating how I think this works. I think it'll be available after the timeout. And then I think there's a way that I can say after every change, like listen for changes and then, okay, yeah, see, now we have it. So we did the pause, it was blank, we did the pause and we did that. So I basically what I want to do next is like listen for a change. Is in my service, is there, I guess it's not is there, it's like how do I wait? How do I listen for changes? And I think it makes sense. I was like, in my mind, I was having this little internal battle. Like, okay, this is a for loop root thing. Everybody can listen to it. Blah blah blah. Do I should I move this into like a more generally accepted thing? It's like, no, I think I want this to be very specific for update. Just router inject. Stop pipe. God, this is into a signal. Yeah. Um, so this is like such a perfect example, like where it's just like, do I really need to understand this? Really, 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 really? Probably not. So this will actually turn it into the signal that I want and deserve. But instead of this ID set, we want to set. I don't know if that is right. Snapshot. I think this whole snapshot thing doesn't work right for me because it's the dummy thing. You have to do something in the dummy or something, but let's just do it. Okay, so let's see. So I know this comes in, I don't know, I think this comes in from, yeah, router. That's an interface, I think. Filter, I believe this one needs to come from RxJS. And then this should be edit render ID. So this is the render ID. And then was there something I was supposed to do up here? Because for some strange reason, route. Oh, did I not name it the same? Is that? I named it router. Yeah, I don't think that code works. I don't know. Where's route? Route equals. So up here we named it router. And then route, I don't know, and it's router, route state, route. Oh, route, let route. Did I miss that one? Let route. It says, something is really screwy here. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm just going to console log. I'm going to say this dot log route. Let's see what we get here. F12. I think it looks like it worked. Right, yeah, so we got our update route. So the ID is that. So we can remove that code that we have built in that other one that knew in the app layout. All right, we have get current renderer ID. That's kind of crazy because we don't even, it looks like we don't use that at all. Get current renderer ID is like this. So basically, yeah, so that won't work actually. I was saying, oh, I could just use that, but I can't. I just want to grab this. Okay, so basically tomorrow I want to set this ID. We don't even want this. This is just going to be confusing. This is gonna be, and then I'm going to make this publish route. I'm going to change this from log route to publish route. And then I'm going to get rid of that. And then have 12. Okay, so we are publishing. Let's change that to publishing, console log publishing. I'm just trying to set myself up tomorrow. I don't want to have to try to come up. I'm trying to put myself in a spot that's going to be one, like easy to come up to speed. I don't know when I started doing that. I think it was like probably like 2006, 2007, where like literally every single time. Oh, so we even have it right there. Number 2. Oh no, 2 is blank. So like, yeah, if we just remove update, we have the route and all that. So we are so close, and then we'll be able to listen to this service for this signal here, and then we'll know what the ID is, and then we can easily put the ID in our other thing. So let's just make sure I haven't broken anything before I call it a day. I would love to just do this all day long. Okay, yeah, nothing's broken. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. Happy coding. I'm going to go check the fields and see if they're wet. Bye.